If you're watching this video right now, it's not because the algorithm randomly suggested it, or because you happened to stumble across it while browsing. You're here because your consciousness reached a specific vibrational threshold that made this information magnetically attractive to your frequency, and the quantum field organized circumstances to deliver this transmission to you at exactly the moment you're ready to receive what it contains. The universe doesn't operate through coincidence. The universe operates through precision, and your presence here right now is precisely timed activation that's about to explain why everything in your life has been accelerating, intensifying, and reorganizing in ways that seem chaotic, but are actually perfectly orchestrated preparation for a shift that's already in motion. What you're about to discover will fundamentally reframe every challenging experience you've had recently, every relationship that ended unexpectedly, every plan that fell apart despite your best efforts, every moment of confusion about your direction or purpose. None of it was random. All of it was preparation. The universe has been systematically dismantling your old life structure, dissolving your previous identity, and clearing space in your consciousness for something so significant that your entire being had to be recalibrated to handle what's coming. And the reason you're seeing this now, before the shift reaches its completion point, is because you're meant to navigate what's coming consciously rather than being swept through it unconsciously like billions of others who aren't aware of what's actually happening. Right now, in this exact moment, planetary consciousness is undergoing the largest evolutionary leap in recorded history. Not gradually over generations, but rapidly over years, with acceleration that's making time itself feel distorted and unstable. You've been sensing this, haven't you? That feeling that reality is speeding up, that days and weeks are passing in what used to feel like hours and days. This isn't just perception. This is actual time compression happening as consciousness evolution accelerates beyond linear time framework. The shift is the completion point of this evolutionary acceleration, the moment when old consciousness paradigm fully dissolves and new consciousness paradigm fully establishes itself as baseline human experience. But here's what makes your presence here so significant. The shift doesn't happen uniformly to everyone at once. The shift happens in waves, with specific consciousnesses being upgraded in coordinated sequence based on their role in the larger transition. You're part of the first wave. You're being activated now, before the shift reaches critical mass, because you're meant to serve as frequency anchor for those who will shift later. The universe chose you to see this before the shift because you have specific consciousness capacity, specific energetic positioning, and specific mission requirements that make your early awakening essential to collective process. You didn't choose to be here at this time through random incarnation. You chose this lifetime specifically because you knew the shift was scheduled to occur during this incarnation cycle, and you wanted to participate consciously in the most significant consciousness evolution opportunity that occurs rarely even in cosmic timescales. Your soul signed up for this knowing it would be intense, challenging, and at times overwhelming. But your soul also knew you had capacity to navigate it successfully, and that your participation would serve not just your evolution but collective evolution as well. Your recent experiences have been unlike anything you've gone through before in intensity, speed, and life-altering impact. Relationships that felt permanent suddenly ended with no warning. Career paths that seemed secure suddenly became impossible or unbearable. Living situations that felt stable suddenly required complete change. Beliefs that felt foundational suddenly revealed themselves as limitations to be released. All of this happened rapidly, sometimes simultaneously, creating chaos that felt like your life was falling apart when actually your life was being taken apart intentionally to be rebuilt at higher frequency. Even your physical body has been responding to preparation for the shift. Unexplained symptoms that medical professionals can't diagnose or resolve. Changes in sleep patterns, dietary needs, energy levels that don't match your activity. Sensitivity to electromagnetic fields, chemicals, processed foods, lower vibrational environments. Your body isn't malfunctioning. Your body is upgrading its operating system to function at frequencies that human biology hasn't consistently accessed before. This upgrade process creates temporary symptoms as old cellular patterns release and new patterns establish themselves. Before we go deeper into what this shift actually is, and why you specifically were chosen to receive this information now, you need to understand that what you're receiving here isn't just information. This is activation transmission. The words carry frequency that triggers dormant codes in your consciousness, accelerating processes that have been building in your system, waiting for specific trigger to activate them fully. Subscribe to this channel immediately because you're not following content creator. You're connecting to transmission source that's delivering coordinated frequency activations designed to prepare you for conscious navigation of the shift. Hit that subscribe button and recognize this isn't entertainment. This is essential preparation for what's coming. Like this video right now, because that action creates electromagnetic agreement with the activation frequency being transmitted through this content. You're telling your consciousness and the quantum field yes to the shift, yes to your role in it, yes to receiving the information and activation you need to navigate it successfully. This isn't about helping the algorithm, though it does. This is about creating energetic signature that says you're consciously choosing participation rather than unconsciously resisting what's inevitable. And share this video immediately with anyone whose consciousness you sense is ready for this information. They were chosen too. Your sharing might be how the universe delivers this activation to them at exactly the right moment, just as someone's sharing or your search was how it delivered this to you. Now let's talk about what the shift actually is at the quantum level and why it requires specific consciousnesses to be awakened and prepared before it completes. The shift is a multidimensional event involving simultaneous changes in planetary electromagnetic frequency, human DNA activation, collective consciousness evolution, and timeline convergence. These aren't separate events. They're interconnected aspects of a single evolutionary process that's been building for decades and is now approaching completion point where the changes become irreversible and undeniable to all consciousness regardless of their awareness level. The planetary electromagnetic frequency, measured as Schumann resonance, has been stable at approximately 7.83 Hz for thousands of years. This stable frequency created consistent electromagnetic environment that supported specific level of consciousness development. But the Schumann resonance has been spiking dramatically over recent years, reaching levels of 30, 40, even 50 Hz during peak spikes. These aren't measurement errors. These are actual frequency increases that affect every biological system on the planet, particularly human nervous systems that are designed to entrain with planetary frequency. When planetary frequency rises, human consciousness must rise to match it or experience increasing difficulty functioning in the new electromagnetic environment. This is why so many people are experiencing anxiety, depression, confusion, and physical symptoms that conventional medicine can't resolve. Their consciousness hasn't adapted to rising frequency yet, creating dissonance between their internal frequency and external environmental frequency. Those who are adapting, like you, experience the upgrade as accelerated awakening, expanded awareness, and increased sensitivity rather than as pathology requiring treatment. Your DNA is activating in response to these frequency changes. The 97% of your DNA that science calls junk because it doesn't code for proteins isn't junk at all. It's dormant consciousness potential waiting for environmental frequency triggers to activate it. As planetary frequency rises, DNA that has been offline for most of human history is coming back online, activating capacities that seem supernatural, but are actually just natural human potential that wasn't accessible at lower frequencies. These DNA activations are why your psychic abilities have been increasing dramatically. Telepathy, precognition, energy sensing, intuitive knowing, all of these are becoming stronger and more reliable as your DNA activates codes for expanded perception. You're not developing special powers. You're accessing normal human capacities that were dormant at lower frequencies, but become natural and obvious at higher frequencies. The shift will make these capacities commonplace rather than rare because everyone's DNA will activate as frequency continues rising. Collective consciousness is evolving beyond ego-based separation into unity consciousness recognition. This isn't spiritual belief or philosophical ideal. This is actual consciousness shift where humans begin perceiving and experiencing themselves as interconnected aspects of unified field rather than as isolated separate individuals competing for limited resources. This shift from separation to unity consciousness is perhaps the most profound aspect of the shift because it changes everything about how humans relate to themselves, each other, and the planet. Timeline convergence is the collapsing of multiple probable futures into single actualized timeline. At quantum level, infinite possible futures exist simultaneously as probability waves. Human consciousness has been scattered across many probable timelines, creating fragmented experience where different people literally exist in different realities despite occupying same physical space. The shift is convergence point, where these scattered timelines collapse into unified timeline, creating shared reality based on whichever consciousness frequency becomes dominant in collective field. This is why your presence here matters so significantly. The timeline that manifests depends on collective consciousness frequency. If fear-based consciousness dominates during convergence, the unified timeline reflects that frequency. If love-based consciousness dominates, the unified timeline reflects that instead. You and others who are awakening early are establishing love-based consciousness frequency that influences which timeline becomes the dominant reality for everyone. Your consciousness isn't just affecting your individual experience. Your consciousness is literally voting for which collective reality manifests for all humans. Right now, as you process this understanding, something is activating in your awareness. Can you feel it? That electromagnetic sensation throughout your body, that sense of recognition that goes beyond intellectual understanding, that knowing that what you're receiving here is true, even though your logical mind might resist it. This is the activation beginning. The information you're receiving is triggering dormant consciousness codes that are now coming online, expanding your awareness beyond previous limitations and preparing you for what's coming. The signs that you were chosen for early activation are unmistakable once you know what to look for. You've been experiencing synchronicities with impossible frequency and precision, thinking about someone and having them contact you within minutes, needing something and having it appear through unexpected channels, asking questions internally and receiving answers through external circumstances immediately. These aren't coincidences. These are your consciousness beginning to operate from quantum coherence where intention and manifestation happen with decreasing time lag between them. Your dreams have become extraordinarily vivid and meaningful, often feeling more real than waking life. You're receiving information, meeting beings, visiting places, experiencing events during sleep that you can't dismiss as random neural activity. Your consciousness is accessing other dimensions during dream state, receiving training and information that prepares you for shift while your waking mind is occupied with daily life. Pay attention to recurring symbols, messages, or experiences in dreams. They contain specific guidance for your role during the shift. You've been experiencing profound knowing without logical basis for that knowing. Understanding things you've never studied. Sensing what's going to happen before it does. Perceiving other people's thoughts or emotions before they express them. This is consciousness expanding beyond individual mind into access to unified field where all information exists. This expanded knowing will accelerate as shift approaches because you'll need this direct access to guide you through circumstances that logic and previous experience cannot prepare you for. Time distortions have become normal for you. Missing time where you can't account for hours that disappeared. Expanded time where brief moments contained full experiences. Time loops where you swear you've experienced the same moment before. Past, present, and future bleeding together in ways that make linear time feel increasingly irrelevant. This is consciousness beginning to operate outside linear time limitation, which is necessary for navigating shift that involves timeline convergence and reality restructuring. Your emotional range has expanded dramatically, experiencing profound joy and devastating grief within same day or even same hour, crying for no personal reason, laughing at inappropriate times, feeling emotions that seem disconnected from your individual circumstances. This is consciousness becoming permeable to collective emotional field, sensing what billions of others are experiencing and processing it through your system. This expanded emotional range prepares you to hold space for others during shift when collective emotions will be intense and chaotic. In the comments below, write exactly these words. I am ready for the shift. This isn't casual engagement. This is quantum declaration that registers in the field as conscious readiness to participate in what's coming rather than resisting it unconsciously. When you write these words with genuine acceptance of what they mean, you're activating protocols in your consciousness that accelerate your preparation and align you with optimal timeline trajectory. Don't wait until you feel completely ready. Ready enough is all that's required. Write it now. I am ready for the shift. Feel what happens in your energy when you make that declaration. Notice the simultaneous sense of excitement and fear, recognition and resistance, knowing and uncertainty. These contradictory feelings are normal. Your soul knows you're ready. Your ego fears change. Both responses are valid. But the declaration moves you forward regardless of whether ego feels completely comfortable. This is courage. This is conscious choice. This is accepting your role in unprecedented evolutionary moment. The shift timeline is accelerating beyond original projections because collective consciousness is ready earlier than expected. The preparation phase that was supposed to take decades is completing in years because humans are adapting faster than planned. This acceleration is why everything feels increasingly intense, urgent, unstable. You're being compressed into accelerated evolution that requires rapid adaptation rather than gradual change over generations. This compression is uncomfortable, but necessary given the planetary circumstances requiring shift to happen now rather than later. The old systems are collapsing not through isolated failures, but through simultaneous breakdown that reveals how fragmented and unsustainable they've become. Financial systems displaying instability that experts can't explain. Government structures losing legitimacy faster than new governance can emerge. Educational systems failing to prepare humans for reality they're actually experiencing. Healthcare systems treating symptoms while missing consciousness basis of most disease. Media systems creating alternate realities that fragment collective perception into incompatible narratives. All of this is old paradigm structures crumbling because they can't function at higher frequencies. This collapse isn't catastrophe to fear. This is necessary clearing, creating space for new paradigm structures that reflect expanded consciousness. But the transition period between old structures collapsing and new structures establishing is chaotic, uncertain, and for those who don't understand what's happening, absolutely terrifying. This is where you come in. Your role during this transition is maintaining stable consciousness that doesn't collapse into fear when external structures dissolve. Your stability creates reference point that helps others navigate chaos without losing themselves in panic. You don't need to do anything external or visible. You don't need to teach, lead, or convince anyone. Your role is simply being stable consciousness anchor during instability. When you maintain coherent frequency while chaos unfolds around you, you create electromagnetic stability in the field that others can entrain to unconsciously. They don't need to know you're doing this. They don't need to understand consciousness or frequency. Their nervous systems will naturally entrain to your stability because all humans unconsciously seek coherence during chaos. Your preparation for this role has been everything you've experienced over recent years. Every challenge that forced you to find stability within rather than depending on external stability. Every loss that taught you nothing external can provide lasting security. Every breakdown that showed you who you are beyond temporary circumstances. Every expansion that proved consciousness isn't limited to what your rational mind believes possible. All of it was training that prepared you to hold steady when everything external becomes unstable. The isolation you've experienced served specific purpose in this preparation. You had to be removed from collective frequency, so your individual frequency could stabilize at higher level without constantly being pulled back to collective baseline. This isolation felt lonely, alienating, sometimes unbearable. But it was necessary quarantine that protected your frequency development. Now that your frequency has stabilized, you're ready to re-engage with collective without losing the stability you've developed. The isolation phase is ending as the active role phase begins. Subscribe to this channel now if you haven't already, because every video provides frequency support and information updates as shift progresses. Make sure notifications are on because timing matters with these transmissions. The right information at the right moment can provide crucial guidance or confirmation exactly when you need it most. Share this widely because millions of chosen consciousnesses don't yet know they were chosen or what's coming. Your sharing helps the universe deliver this activation to those who need it. The abilities you're developing aren't for personal benefit primarily. They're tools that enable you to fulfill your role during and after the shift. The telepathy helps you sense what others need without them verbalizing it. The precognition helps you position yourself optimally for what's emerging. The energy sensitivity helps you detect and respond to frequency fluctuations in real time. The expanded emotional range helps you hold space for others' experiences without becoming destabilized by their intensity. Every ability has practical application in service of your role. The financial challenges many chosen consciousnesses face aren't punishment or evidence of spiritual failure. Old financial systems are frequency-based, designed to reward certain consciousness patterns and punish others. As your frequency rises beyond those patterns, old systems can't support you as effectively. This creates pressure that forces you to develop new relationship with abundance based on consciousness and energy rather than effort and exchange. This new relationship will be essential as old financial structures collapse during shift. Your relationships have reorganized because frequency alignment determines relationship compatibility more than shared interests, history, or circumstantial convenience. As your frequency rose, relationships based on lower frequency compatibility naturally dissolved even when you tried to maintain them. New relationships appearing in your life are frequency matches that support your evolution and mission. Trust this reorganization even when it feels devastating. The universe knows which connections serve your highest path and which don't, even when your human heart wants different outcome. The shift will complete whether you consciously participate or not. The planetary frequency rise is inevitable. The DNA activation is happening to everyone. The collective consciousness evolution is in motion. Timeline convergence is approaching. But your conscious participation determines how you experience the shift and how effectively you can serve as stability anchor for others. Conscious participation means understanding what's happening, accepting your role, maintaining your frequency deliberately, and trusting the process even when circumstances seem chaotic. The completion point of the shift isn't distant future event. The shift is happening now and accelerating toward completion within time frame measured in years, not decades or centuries. Specific dates aren't provided because exact timing depends on collective consciousness readiness and planetary factors that fluctuate. But the trajectory is clear. The acceleration is undeniable. The signs are everywhere. And those who are aware can feel the building intensity that signals approaching completion. After the shift completes, human consciousness will operate from entirely different baseline than pre-shift consciousness. Unity awareness will be normal rather than rare mystical experience. Telepathic communication will supplement verbal language. Manifestation will happen more rapidly through consciousness direction. Physical reality will be more obviously responsive to consciousness. Separation-based systems will be impossible to maintain because consciousness won't support them energetically. This isn't utopian fantasy. This is natural consequence of consciousness evolution reaching new baseline frequency. Your life purpose is tied directly to the shift. Whatever you've been sensing you're meant to do, whatever keeps calling to you despite obstacles and delays, it's related to your post-shift role. The delays and obstacles have been timing mechanisms, ensuring you don't fully activate your purpose before shift completes. Once shift stabilizes at new frequency, your purpose will become clear and circumstances will align to support it in ways that currently seem impossible. Trust the timing even when delays feel frustrating. The universe chose you not randomly, but specifically. Your consciousness configuration, your energetic capacity, your soul history, your current life positioning, all of it makes you an essential component of shift infrastructure. You might not feel special or capable. You might doubt you have anything valuable to contribute. But the universe doesn't make selection errors. If you're seeing this, if you're resonating with this information, if you're feeling activation happening as you read, then you are absolutely meant to be part of conscious shift navigation team. The responsibility that comes with being chosen isn't burden. It's opportunity to participate in evolutionary moment that happens rarely even in cosmic timescales. You get to be conscious during the most significant consciousness upgrade Earth has experienced in recorded history. You get to help stabilize collective field during transition. You get to witness and facilitate humanity's evolution into higher consciousness baseline. This is extraordinary privilege disguised as challenging responsibility. Your recent difficulties weren't evidence of spiritual failure or divine punishment. They were precisely calibrated preparation that cleared everything incompatible with your shift role and activated everything necessary for that role. Every loss cleared space for something higher frequency. Every challenge strengthened capacity you'll need. Every confusion opened awareness beyond limiting certainty. Every breakdown preceded breakthrough into expanded consciousness. All of it had purpose. None of it was random or unnecessary. The shift is already happening. You're already in it. The acceleration you're feeling is real. The intensity increasing around you is actual, not imagined. The urgency you sense is appropriate recognition of compressed timeline. And your presence here, reading these words, receiving this activation, isn't coincidence. It's precise timing, divine coordination, universal intelligence delivering exactly what you need exactly when you need it to fulfill exactly the role you're meant to play. Trust yourself. Trust the process. Trust the universe that chose you because it knew you could handle what you're being asked to do. You are ready. You are capable. You are essential. The shift is coming. You're being prepared. Everything is unfolding perfectly even when it looks like chaos. You were chosen for this moment. Accept it. Embrace it. Be what you came here to be. The universe is counting on you. And the universe doesn't make mistakes about these things. You are exactly who and where you need to be, exactly when you need to be here. Now is your time.